Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 30th of January for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the key features to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all of the ins and outs for the signs from Aries through to Pisces. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new, it's great to have you with me. Please like or comment. I answer all comments. This is very much a community. And also subscribe. And if you would like to understand what the next year will hold for you as an individual, as opposed to your zodiac sign, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast, but also my special package of 30% off your life roadmap report. This helps you to understand where you can seize opportunities more firmly, but also some of the patterns that may have repeated themselves that are not so easy. The more you can intimately understand what these are about, the more you can overcome them. Also, I will provide your free Zodiac, Indian and Chinese 12-month forecast completely free of charge. Please see the link below. So this week begins with the Sun forging a really energized link with Mars. But later in the week, Mars and Venus are actually going to be in a tense right angle. But that can just amp up the attraction of someone that you may encounter. Essentially, the Sun in the sign of Aquarius is about friendship. Mars in Gemini is about communications. So if there's somebody that you're attracted to in a social context, then the text messages and emails can soon flow. There can be a meeting up and it can be great fun. Or you may find yourself in the mood to be much more active. But with Venus, the planet of allure, in the sign of Pisces, this is a more reflective location, but Venus actually is exalted here. It likes being in Pisces, and it's asking us to be attuned to how things feel. Mars has an element of urgency around communications in Gemini, so I wouldn't think it's a great idea to rush communications around anyone. If you get to know them this week or you've been recently getting to know them, just let things go at their own pace. But there can be a sense of desire. Now also this week, we do see the Sun in a much more discordant right angle to Uranus. And this may just ring a little bit of a bell in the back of your mind. And the reason is because a year ago, this exact aspect occurred, but also because Saturn in Aquarius has been in that extended right angle with Uranus in Taurus. But the Sun's moved in. Now the Sun obviously is about our core energy. Uranus in the sign of Taurus is about everyday money, but also our self-worth. So it is possible that there is going to be something that comes out into the open as this week goes on, that the truth seeker Uranus pushes us to fess up about. And the sign of Aquarius is very much into the idea of truth because, of course, Uranus is the co-ruler of this sign. But by the end of the week on Sunday, we have a very intense full moon in the sign of Leo. This is a culmination event. If we look back to 6 months ago when we had the Leo new moon, that forged an amazing trine with Jupiter. It was very much about showcasing our talents, our desires, our passions. But the Sun in Aquarius is at the coolest point of its journey for its entire yearly cycle. It's technically in detriment, and the dispassionate side of Aquarius pushes back at what can be seen as the more frivolous and even attention-seeking energies of Leo. And because the Uranus energies in Taurus is very much about how much something's worth, but it can be an erratic energy, this is not the best of times to speculate. So over the next 2 weeks, I wouldn't be risking any resources on any get-rich-quick scheme, or if a friend recommends buying something that just seems to be absolutely amazing, I'd slow things down. Also, this can be a time when affections, whether it's with friendships or in a love relationship, can be influenced by our values. And if our values are not meshing with someone that we're spending a lot of time with, this can bring some turbulence into the open in the next 2 weeks. But also this week, we do have a very compassionate link between Mercury and Neptune. And it's just encouraging us to try to understand why we react in certain ways, what conditions us to have the responses we have. But I think that the full moon is essentially quite a triggering event. Please stay with me for your in-depth forecast for each of the 12 signs. So Libra, your week commencing the 30th of January forecast begins in a very energized and spirited way because of the sun in the part of your situation to do with expressing yourself, your talents, enjoying the social world, is forging an amazing link to Mars, the planet of action, in house 9. If you do get together with a group of people that you find enjoyable to be with, or even one particular person, but you can change your environment, a change of scene can really stimulate your senses. That'd be a great way to power into the new month. Now, your ruler Venus is in a part of your horoscope that's very good for cultivating good contacts and good relationships in your work situation. But Mars in house 9 that's a much more rugged and risk-taking area. So you could find yourself trying to balance in some ways, as the two connect later in the week, different parts of your nature. Part of you may want to be very supportive, another part of you may want to shrug off responsibilities and obligations and do exactly as you want. And that dynamic could play out in a close relationship. Also, the sun is clashing with Uranus. Is there a situation in your life, it may be to do with your romantic world, where you feel a bit trapped, or you feel that you're craving some kind of deeper involvement, but you can't quite seem to find the person that will still let you be the individual you are? Some kind of creative tension is possible with that aspect, and it does feed its way into the full moon, which occurs on Sunday. Now, the full moon between the 5th and the 11th houses is really interesting. It brings to mind that old saying is, you can't please all of the people all of the time. And I think your experience with Pluto over recent years, it's taught you in a big way that even if you do bend over backwards to be the best version of yourself to various people, it doesn't necessarily work, because you can lose a little bit of your identity. So maybe it is around your social life, or a network, or group situation, or friendship, or maybe it's around how you want to express yourself as an individual. But if something's a bit out of balance, Uranus, in a very provocative way, is asking you to get in touch in a deeper way with what you really need, but most of all, what you feel really passionate about. So don't try to be too much of a people pleaser as this week draws to a close. But ironically, I actually think you may end up with lots of different options, and that may prove to be the challenge, not just as this week finishes, but over the next couple of weeks. Maybe there's going to be more than one person showing an interest in you, and one of the people involved, or maybe more, can have something very magnetic and exciting about their energy, which really does switch you on. But there may be another part of you that feels a bit concerned about that, or there may be another part of you that wants to break free of the existing structures in your pleasure area of your life and do something radically different. So it's going to be interesting how this full moon plays out for you, but do think of what works for you rather than just trying to keep those other people happy all of the time.